Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Would You Rather Wednesday. If you're new here, my name is Austin, and we like to go through different scenarios every Wednesday. Would you rather do this? Would you rather do that? They're usually going to be travel related, right around there. So today we're going to be focusing on would you rather on your next vacation fly or drive? This might seem like an easy answer, especially if you're going to drive or fly long distances. If you're driving, coast to coast, that's not going to be as nice, not as conducive to happiness as it is going to be if you were to fly. So I narrowed it down to a 500-mile radius. So 500 miles from your house right now, if you were to make that travel, would you rather do it in a car? Would you rather do it in a plane? And I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I drove down to St. George from our house, which happens to be 550 miles right around there. And I was thinking on that 7-hour trip, is it easier? Would it have been easier to fly? Would it have been cheaper? Blah, blah, blah. So that's why I thought about this video, is because it makes it kind of interesting. Because that is the sweet spot, I feel like. Anything 600 miles and above, just fly. It's just easier in that scenario. Anything 500 miles, 600 miles, and shorter, that's where it depends on what you want to do personally. And that's where it gets kind of tricky. If you have multiple kids, I would say definitely drive, because in this scenario that I broke down, it was $208 to fly from my closest airport, my city airport, down to St. George. $208, okay? So my car, I did the math, broke everything down, 17.4 gallon fuel tank. I got about 25 or so miles a gallon when I made the trip. If you add up all that cost of gas for, because I think it's a 400 and something mile, range. So when I mixed those two together, I did about 2.5 tanks. That's kind of what I did for easy math. 2.5 tanks, which brings me to literally half of that flight cost, $104. And I need to mention that cost of the flight is for one person. It's one person flying. So if I were to, put my wife and my daughter with me, we're over. Easily, you should be driving. For us, in our circumstance. So I might be thinking, well, time-wise, if you're short on time, planes are usually the answer. Yes, but when I'm traveling, I like to think about the time when you walk out of your door. So if I were to walk out of my door and get to my airport, they like to say, be 45 minutes to an hour early. That time, it's an hour early. So let's say there's an hour onto there, okay? That flight, I just pulled it up, is going to be 4 hours, okay? It's going to be a 4-hour flight. That's the least expensive flight that I could find. It does have a short layover in Salt Lake City, and that has to happen. For me to leave from my house, from my airport, I have to stop at Salt Lake City, because it's a bigger airport to then get down to St. George. It's just how it is. And cost-wise, that's the cheapest, $208 round trip, like I was saying. That's just what has to happen. So if you add on that hour to the 4-hour total time of traveling, you're at 5 hours. It's getting kind of close, right, to that 7 hours. So as soon as you then get down, as soon as you land into St. George, as soon as you're going to pick up your bags, everything like that, you'll wait for your bag, of course, on that carousel. You never know how long that's going to take. Let's say you wait for a carousel. Let's say you go rent a car, which I looked online. It's about $75 per day for a car. Okay, so if you add that $75 onto it, we were already over to begin with flights. But if you were to be going to the carousel, getting your luggage, going to the rental car desk, let's say that adds an hour to make math easy. That's going to be 6 hours. So you save 1 hour of time by flying from where I live down to St. George in this certain scenario. Your scenario might be different. Make sure you check and kind of run the math on it. But I thought that was the sweet spot where it's going to be close. You're going to save 1 hour, but you're going to spend $200-300 more. depending on how many people you're going with, everything like that. So that makes it kind of difficult. But that's where I thought math would be the closest, because as soon as, like I said, as soon as you get anywhere farther past that 600 miles, time-wise, it's gonna be so much easier to fly. Cost-wise, there is that cost. But if I'm over in Idaho, so if I'm over in Idaho and let's say I want to go to Florida for my vacation, go to Disney World, or if I want to go to California, it's so much easier just to fly. It does kind of hurt a little bit cost-wise, but if you've only got 3 or 4 days on your vacation, it's hard to take a day and a half to travel out of your fun park time. I would say definitely fly, and that kind of hurts, especially cost-wise. So pros and cons of a car versus a plane. I'm going to give you 3 for each: 3 for a car, 3 for a plane, just to make sure I'm covering all the bases and make sure you guys aren't thinking I'm strictly car, travel, car, because planes are nice. Pros for the car. Number 1, choice of food. You get to choose whatever you want to eat. You can pull over anywhere along the highway, get whatever you want to eat. You want a greasy cheeseburger, you want a greasy gas station hot dog, whatever you want, pull over and get it. You're good to go. Or if you have food allergies, it makes it a lot easier. If you have to go stop at a place that has specific food for what you need, easy. Go find that place, pick it up. Well, not easy, easier than if you were on a plane. And they have, maybe this 1 or 2 meals they can give you, if they give you any food. Otherwise, you have to eat airport food, which isn't the best. Number 2, you can be as loud and as crazy as you want. And I know this is, if you don't have any kids yet, whoever I'm talking to, if you're listening, if you don't have any kids, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to you. But if you have kids, it's so hard to get them to be well behaved on a plane. Sometimes they do it and it's great and it's wonderful, but when it's bad, it is hellish. It is so bad. So that's why I kind of like number 2, is because if they need to cry it out a little bit, that's fine. You won't be kind of looking over your shoulder, feeling kind of bad about it that everybody else has to be woken up on this plane because your child is being a little crazy. Number 3, pro for the car, is that you can pull over and see whatever you want. If there's some sort of historical monument you see on the side of the road, if there's some world's biggest this or that, or world's first blah blah blah, if there's something you want to see, pull over, you'll see it. It's easy. Do whatever you want to do. Now for the planes, 3 pros for the plane. Number 1, it's safer. Statistically, you have a greater chance of dying in your car on your road trip than you do with a plane crash. That's just facts. Sorry. Number 2, relaxation. Everybody can relax if it's possible. Once again, if you have kids, this might not ever happen, but in the slight off chance that you do have the ability to take a nap on a plane and your child or children are asleep, wonderful. Take a little nap, you can relax. Everything's great. If you don't have kids, then you can just zonk out. Both people can go to sleep, or just you can go to sleep, whatever. It allows you the ability to relax. Whereas if you're driving, you're just going to be constantly focused on the road. Number 3 for the plane, talked about it earlier. It's going to be, you can travel a lot farther. So time-wise, it is easier. It is easier, especially like I said, if you have a limited amount of time to travel, just do it by plane. It's more money, I know, but like I said, if you've got 4 days and 2 of them are spent traveling, not as good for the vacation. So now, just to kind of be the devil's advocate, we're going to go through cons, and I found 4 major cons. That's 8. 4 major cons for each setup, car and plane. So let's start with the car. Number 1, as I mentioned, it's dangerous. It is more dangerous than a plane. That's how it is. I'm sorry. It is more dangerous to drive in a car for longer distances than it is to get in a plane and travel that way. Con number 2, there's no rest for the driver. Of course, you can pull over and kind of switch and whatnot, but when you're driving, you should be focused on driving. You don't need to be worried about how tired you're getting, when you're going to switch off. Can you make it to the next rest stop, make it to the next town? Can you go another hour? It just makes it more difficult if you don't have to worry about that. Number 3 con in a car, you can't walk around. You can't get up, you can't stretch out as easily as you can in a plane. You can't walk up and down the aisles of your car unless you've got one of those beautiful Ford Transit, Mercedes or Dodge Sprinter vans. Want one of those one day. That'll make things a lot easier for you, but chances are you might not have something like that. So it's nicer to move around and stretch in a plane when you are out of your seat than when you are driving. And number 4, con for a car, especially if you've got a family, there are no easy restroom breaks. If you're flying around in your plane and you feel the urge to go to the bathroom, hop up out of your seat, boop. Usually you can go to the bathroom, otherwise if there's some turbulence, whatever. But you're usually able to go to the bathroom a lot easier than if you are in the middle of the desert and there's no rest stop for another 150 miles and you've got to make a decision what you want to do. It's just easier to do it on a plane that way. Cons for the plane. Once again, 4 cons. Number 1, it is dirty. It's a lot dirtier to go through an airport, a lot dirtier to go through security and everything else. Get on the plane, sit in that seat that they cleaned. We usually take Clorox wipes, by the way, and wipe down everything that before we even sit down, wipe down our seat cushions, armrest, tray table, wipe down everything, and you would be surprised with the crap that we clean off, especially with it being cleaned in between people. And this video is, towards the, I don't know if it's tail end or not. I don't know how long this COVID thing's gonna last. But with, being in the midst of COVID, you run the risk of getting it when you do go into an airport. When you're in your car, you do run the risk when you stop to get gas, whatever, anything like that. But it's such a microscopically, I don't know what to say, but there's such a microscopic chance that you're gonna get it in a car of your own stuff, touching a few things when you're getting gas compared to getting on a plane and everything is cleaned. Be careful. Number 2, if you've flown by plane a lot, it's gonna be delays and layovers. Of course, if you look, you're seeing this wonderful route planned out that you're gonna take. It's gonna be great. You're gonna go to this airport, you're then gonna end up in this airport, but then you look and there's a mysterious 2-hour layover, or you have to then go backwards, get a bigger plane, then fly across the country that way. It's pain. It's added time, and it's just kind of takes the wind out of your sails. So that's definitely a con because it will add time no matter what, especially if you get a cancellation and you're sitting there in the terminal and it gets canceled. Now your trip is another day later. It's a nightmare. It's horrible. Number 3, lost baggage. This will not happen in your car unless you physically do it. Otherwise, planes do misplace bags. It happens all the time. That's the way of air travel. Sometimes you get your bag. Most of the time you get your bag. Come on, I'm not dogging on air travel that much. Most of the time you get your bag, but you do run the risk of not getting that bag, then putting it on a different plane in Denver, and now it's in Seattle or wherever. That is always an option that could happen. Number 4, security. So this is, once again, I don't know, back in the airline industry, something that has to happen. I get it, I understand it. I'm not going to sit here and say we don't need security. That's stupid and naive, but it does take time, and you will be in a group of people. They will have social distancing in place, of course, but you're now in an area where there is much more people, and you are sitting there, you are waiting, people are breathing, people are sneezing, coughing, doing whatever they do. It's a bummer. That's the way air travel is, and you can't get away from it. So it just depends on what you guys want to do. I liked having that 500-mile radius because that's where I could see it be the closest comparison between cars and planes. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like to travel by plane, if you have to travel by plane, if you travel by car, if it's the best, if you cannot travel by plane because you can't handle it, there's something going on, it stresses you out. I get it. I understand it, especially with COVID going on right now. There's some nasty stuff going around, and it's a bad place to be. So let me know. Comments, tell me what I said wrong. Let me know. Make sure you comment and subscribe. Subscribe because this is a weekly video. Would You Rather Wednesdays obviously comes out on Wednesdays. So unless you have to keep trying to find me Make sure you hit subscribe, hit that little bell icon. That's going to make things a lot easier. I'll pop up on your phone, tell you when one comes up. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching.